And now to a story that could change the fortunes of Kashmir. It has vast deposits of lithium. What's lithium? The oil of the future. Lithium is a chemical element, a soft, silvery white metal, the key ingredient for electronic goods. In a world heavily reliant on electronics and moving towards electric vehicles, lithium is the future. And Kashmir has the jackpot. The discovery was made by the Geological Survey of India. The announcement came from the government of India. They found lithium reserves in the Riyasi district of Jammu and Kashmir. How much lithium are we talking about? About 5.9 million tons. For perspective, this is more than 5% of the world's total lithium resources. Which country has the largest deposits? Chile, followed by these. India now stands at the 7th position, the 7th largest deposits in the world. And India is just getting started. The first discovery of the metal was made in 2021. It was found in the South Indian state of Karnataka. Those deposits were much smaller, nowhere close to meeting India's larger EV plan. But the latest discovery, the one in Jammu and Kashmir, has put India on the world's lithium map. India has literally hit the jackpot. The country is making a major push towards adopting electric vehicles. And the target is ambitious. By 2030, India plans to make 30% of its cars electric. What's the share today? 0.5%. That's the share of EVs on Indian roads today. So India has a long way to go from 0.5 to 30. And the discovery in Jammu and Kashmir is critical to this plan. You see, lithium is a key ingredient of batteries. It will drive the EV market. Electric cars run on lithium-ion batteries, and these batteries, as the name suggests, cannot be made without lithium. It's an extremely light metal. So using lithium makes batteries really light, which improves performance. It optimizes the storage of energy. The lithium-ion battery technology is said to be the best right now, which is why every country is trying to set up solid lithium supply chains. And every country is looking to find reserves in their own territory. For India, the discovery will be a game changer, and I'll tell you why. Why is this a game changer? Today, we import most of our oil, and we pay a lot of money for that oil. Last year, India spent $119 billion to buy oil. It's a burden which neither the government nor the people are happy about. Now, we're working towards a 30% EV fleet by 2030. That should reduce the oil bill. But to build EVs, you need lithium. And if you don't have reserves at home, you'll have to import that lithium. So while the oil bill may come down, the lithium bill will go up. Sample this. In the year 2020, India imported lithium batteries worth 8,800 crore rupees and lithium metal worth almost 200 crore rupees. The discovery in Kashmir would change that. India can dip into its own reserves. It will not have to import. Let me ask you a question. How much of India's rare earth metal demand is fulfilled by imports right now? How much do we import? Almost 100%. All of it comes from outside, and that's not a pretty place to be in. Next question. What else is lithium used for? Everything that runs on a battery. Smartphones, laptops, toys, wireless headphones, entire energy storage systems. All of it needs lithium. Again, where is most of the world's lithium? In an area called the Lithium Triangle. This triangle has 3 countries, Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia. Add Peru to the mix, and 67% of the world's lithium resources will be accounted for. Australia, too, has large resources, about 7.9 million tons of lithium. So far, India has had to depend on these countries and China. Why China? Because China controls 65% of the world's lithium refining. And depending on Beijing for a strategic resource like this would have been less than ideal. So India started looking for alternatives at home. In the last few years, lithium exploration has been taken up quite aggressively. The Geological Survey of India has carried out 19 projects in the last 5 years. Their goal is quite clear, to find lithium. And where are they looking? Across the country. Green transition is a policy priority for the government. Though the impact of these efforts may not be obvious for a long time, the deposits found in Kashmir, they may take 5 to 7 years to be made available commercially. But given the strategic value of lithium, it's a very significant start for India. No such invites for the Pakistani leadership, though, although Pakistan counts itself as China's best friend, iron brother, as they say. They wanted to travel to Turkey, but they were told not to come. And I can tell you, they have a lot on their plate at home, the Pakistani leaders. Mob lynchings, forced conversions, terror attacks, power cuts. It's never a dull day in this banana republic. And now we have something from the ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan. He has a knack for theatrics. This is his latest. Will he sue General Bajwa? I'll tell you where this began. For the longest time, Imran Khan blamed the United States for plotting his ouster, an international conspiracy to get him out of office. Now he seems to have found a new villain, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, the same General Bajwa who was Pakistan's army chief until November last year. You could say he was the supreme leader of Pakistan, and Imran Khan was removed from office on his watch. And now Imran Khan wants an investigation. He's calling for an internal military inquiry against General Bajwa, who, by the way, was also the man who brought Imran Khan to power in the first place. I know it sounds confusing, but you may remember, Prime Minister Khan was said to have been selected and not elected to office. It is said that Imran Khan enjoyed the support of the Pakistani army when he was brought to power. But then he played his cards wrong, rubbed the generals the wrong way, and found himself out of power. And now Imran Khan says the Pakistani army should conduct an inquiry against General Bajwa. It's safe to assume that the army won't pay heed. So here's the question being asked in Pakistan. Will Imran Khan sue General Bajwa? Will he take him to court? The law says he can, under Article 6 of Pakistan's constitution. But common sense says he can't, and he won't. Because which Pakistani politician has survived the wrath of the army? Also, Imran Khan has been out of office for a while, so why does he want a probe now? What is the trigger? General Bajwa has spoken about his ouster. That seems to be the trigger. He wrote a column recently. He said that his quote-unquote crime was that he did not step in to save Imran Khan's government. Bajwa, of course, was being sarcastic. He was also quoted as saying that these people were dangerous for the country. Which people? Imran Khan and his party, the Tehreek-e-Insaf. So Imran Khan has now taken offense and gotten ideas. Let me quote from what he said. There should be an internal army inquiry against him for the statements that he proudly and arrogantly gave, that I made the decision because the country's conditions were such, as if he was some economic expert. The he here, of course, is General Bajwa. And it did not end there. Imran Khan then said that General Bajwa favored some of the biggest crooks in the country. One of them, perhaps, was the Prime Minister, who then stopped being the Prime Minister. Imran Khan also testified to a fact that the world already knows, and I'm quoting again, the military in Pakistan means one man, the army chief. So the whole policy of military vis-a-vis their dealing with the civilian government depends on the personality of one man. Funny how every Pakistani leader realizes this only after being put out of office. But this is a dangerous game because Imran Khan is taking on not just General Bajwa, he's firing at the Pakistani army. In a leaked audio, Imran Khan has been heard saying that the army and the ISI wanted to quote-unquote murder Pakistan's most popular leader. He's, of course, referring to himself as the most popular leader. And for a change, he's not the only politician openly speaking against the army. Listen to what Nawaz Sharif said last month. He blamed General Bajwa and former ISI chief Faiz Hamid for Pakistan's present situation. Nawaz Sharif blames the two generals for it, and he said that they played a role in rigging the 2018 general election, the same election that brought Imran Khan to power. So what's happening in Pakistan is very interesting. The army is facing the heat. Imran Khan, whatever his reputation may be, remains an influential leader, and he leads arguably the biggest political party in Pakistan. Nawaz Sharif leads the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, PMLN, one of the three main political parties of the country. Rawalpindi won't be impressed with the kind of rhetoric coming from these two parties. So are the best days for the Pakistani army behind it? Maybe not, but it's surely facing a lot of flack these days. Semiconductors are back in the news, this time not because of a shortage, but due to a glut. There is a surplus of chips in the global market, which is bad news for chip makers. Revenues are shrinking and jobs are being cut. But why is the surplus of chips bad news? Here's a quick primer. Semiconductors had become the buzzword 2 years back. That's when the pandemic struck. What are semiconductors? Think of them as the brain of mobile phones, laptops, vehicles, even weapons. They're the building blocks of these devices. The world had run out of them, and they were all over the headlines. There were reports of large-scale chip shortages. It was a time when people were working from home and supply chains were disrupted. Demand for electronic products went up sharply by more than 10% according to some estimates, which meant that there was a higher demand for chips. In fact, I have some figures with me. Global semiconductor sales increased more than 26% in 2021. They crossed $550 billion. The year before, this figure was $440 billion. How did the industry counter this high demand? They shipped more than 1 trillion semiconductor units in 2021. China was the single largest market with sales worth nearly $193 billion. Companies increased output, but they struggled to match the high demand. At the same time, they also made billions of dollars. Fast forward to the second half of last year, 2022. Here's where the trend reverses. Demand fell sharply as offices opened up, smartphone shipments fell by 11%, personal computers by 15%, and the result was this: a fall in chip sales. Year on year, chip sales fell by 15% in the fourth quarter of last year. And in China's case, the fall was the steepest. As of November, sales plunged by more than 21% in China. Customers did not buy as many products as they did earlier. Where do you think that left chip makers? With huge stocks of unused inventory. How much exactly? Estimates suggest 3 to 4 months worth of supply. Almost all of it gathering dust. Now companies are cutting their losses and jobs. Intel let go of 200 people and they cut salaries by up to 25%. What about China, a country already fighting a chip war with the United States? Its problems have multiplied. On the one hand, there's America. It accounts for about half of the world's semiconductor market. The US is stitching a coalition with other major players, the likes of South Korea and the Netherlands. They're joining hands to counter Beijing. What will they do? Block China's access to advanced equipment for chip production. Take HiSilicon, for instance. It's the design arm of Huawei. In 2022, the company fell out of the list of the world's top 25 semiconductor vendors. Its revenue declined by 81% compared to 2021. And now Beijing is dealing with a drop in demand. China's top chip makers saw losses of more than 26%. I'm talking about the Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corp, or SIMC. Its profits fell by 26% to $425 million, and the company anticipates that this trend will continue, at least for the first 6 months of this year. Experts say the slowdown is a global phenomenon. It stems from the lack of demand, and they're right. But remember, China is aiming to be self-sufficient in this game. It wants to cut dependency on the US and other nations for importing raw materials. Things aren't going as planned, though. Plus, there's the India factor. You see, all eyes were on New Delhi as the US-China tussle played out. India was seen as the alternative to help fill the gap in the chip industry. Reports say the Biden administration is now seeking New Delhi's help in shifting supply chains away from China. The meeting between the two sides last week also sought to boost investments in India. How big is India's market? The semiconductor market here is projected to see revenues exceed $300 billion by 2026. New Delhi, on its part, has encouraged companies to manufacture chips in India. It announced a $10 billion incentive in 2021 to bolster its case. So far, 4 global companies have responded to India's offer. At the center of this invite, roll out a second round of proposals soon. But there's a rider. The situation is different now. From a supply deficit mode, the chip market is in a demand deficit state. How India adapts to this remains to be seen.
An Indian becoming a UK PM.
Well, it's not like that we are going to get the Kohinoor back. But at least India is on its way to the top, huh?
But Gautam sir, there's actually not much to celebrate.
Why not? An Indian is ruling the UK.
Indian leaders in third countries often tend to overcompensate for their minority handicap.
Key.
For example, Sunak's Home Secretary of Indian origin, Suella Braverman, disapproved of India-UK free trade because it would encourage people immigrating to the UK, and the majority of whom were Indians. Structurally, India and UK have passed baggage, but still hasn't been resolved. And that is why,
Ladies and gentlemen, India needs to significantly temper its expectations from Rishi Sunak. Presenting Vantage with me, Palki Sharma, a first-of-its-kind global show with an Indian perspective.
Mismanaged vaccination drive, broken healthcare systems, citizens taking matters into their own hands. India's failure in managing the COVID-19 crisis is staggering.
Want stories but without the West spin on it? Presenting Vantage with me, Palki Sharma, a first of its kind global show with an Indian perspective.